Hello class, this is Mr.N. I'm going to help you get through document C and D. This should be day 3 for you guys, and we're going to do some pre-bucketing, and then you should be on your way to write your essays. I'll probably give you a day to do that. And so document C covers this section that to secure these rights, governments are instituted among men, deriving their just powers from the consent of the governed. Here we have a source from Tiananmen Square Massacre. This is 20 years on, from the Telegraph, which is a paper in the United Kingdom in 2009. And here you see the caption says, "All power belongs to the people." Alright, so here's a note. In the spring of 1989, Chinese university students and other protesters occupied Tiananmen Square in Beijing. They condemned government corruption and called for a change to democracy. The photograph shows demonstrating high school students. On June 4th, the protests were crushed by the Chinese government. Up to 3,000 people were killed. And here we have another source, The Consent of the Governed, Essential Principles, Democracy Web, Comparative Studies in Freedom, 2006. It's definitely really important that you read these sources or to know what you're looking at. And here's the excerpt. The most fundamental concept of democracy is the idea that government exists to secure the rights of the people and must be based on the consent of the governed. The essential meaning of consent of the governed can be understood by examining countries where it is lacking. In 1989, Chinese students had gathered in Beijing's Tiananmen Square, adopted the Statue of Liberty as a symbol of their demands for truth, freedom, and democracy from their government. I want to read that one more time. In 1989, Chinese students had gathered in Beijing's Tiananmen Square, adopted the Statue of Liberty as the symbol of their demands for truth, freedom, and democracy from their government. The United States of America was the first modern state formed around the principle of consent of the governed. The term implies that the people of a country or territory consent in a vote or through elected representatives to the establishment of their own government. So here's your first question. I'll model the sentence stem. Or remember, each question gives you the sentence stem. So question 1. Which of the 4 ideas is the focus of this document? So I'm going to click my type tool. I'm going to select here, and the idea that this document focuses on is, and that's where you would put the main idea. And the thing that should stick out to you is the consent of the governed in this document. And then you would just go ahead and respond to each question using your sentence stems. Okay, let's go ahead and take a look at document D. That whenever any form, and again, you might be wondering why I'm not doing all these questions with you. It's important that you use your processing and analysis skills to write these questions, because if I was just filling out these answers, it's just too easy for you guys to copy down, and we want to make sure you guys are practicing your processing skills. Okay, so now that we're going to look at document D, and the excerpt is that whenever any form of government becomes destructive of these ends, it is the right of the people to alter or to abolish it. Okay, and again, if you recognize that phrasing, it's from the Declaration of Independence. Okay, so we have a source here from Carl Moore Report, July 3rd, 2008. You see this picture right here. You see an upside-down American flag, and you see a caption that says, "Right of the people to alter or abolish government." This is Declaration of Independence in 1776. So you see how these guys are capturing it. Now, this photo is from the blog of a secessionist activist who supports the Vermont secession movement, meaning they want Vermont to pull away from the Union to be its own independent country. This movement was launched in 2003 by people who were angry about the bigness of the federal government. The goal was to return Vermont to the independent status it had between 1777 to 1791, before it joined the Union. Traditionally, an upside-down flag was a distress signal for ships at sea. Okay, and we have another source. This is the Declaration of Tea Party Independence, February 24th, 2010. Note, the Tea Party movement takes its name from the Boston Tea Party of the Revolutionary Era. Tea Party members believe in following the words and intent of the Declaration and the Constitution. They support a smaller government, lower taxes, and reduction of the national debt. Alright, so the Declaration of Tea Party Independence. As the course of human events winds its way through history, it has found some paths lead to tyranny and some to liberty. In seeking a path to liberty, a great and powerful movement is now rising from every corner of our land, created by the will of the American people. It rejects unconstitutional domination by the government that is supposed to be its servant. This movement has arisen in large part because our elected officials have failed us. Therefore, individuals acting through the Tea Party movement seek to restore the policies which are proven to safeguard liberty and prosperity for all. We will organize, demonstrate, and vote until this restoration has been achieved. So, document analysis. Which of the four beliefs is the focus of this document? And you just start, and you got your sentence stems from your questions. One of the four beliefs, or the belief, this document focuses on is, and that, of course, that's the belief that the people have a right to abolish, to alter the government or abolish it. And so that's kind of what you would put for that subsequent part. And then go ahead and respond to the rest of the questions. And you could go ahead and pause this until you finish that, and then you could resume with the next part. Okay, so now it's time to bucket the documents that you have analyzed. You've analyzed 4 documents. So we're going to look over all the documents and organize them into your final buckets. You're going to write labels underneath each bucket, and then you're going to place letters of the documents in the buckets where they belong. You could put a document in more than one bucket, but you need a good reason to do so. So remember, your buckets are going to be your body paragraphs. So for example, under these, if you recall in document 1 or document A, that document was about, or the main idea in the Declaration of Independence in document A was the idea of equality, right? And then of course you just put in there, that was from document A, right? And so likewise you're going to go ahead and do that for the next pieces, or for the next buckets. And once you have that, these are going to form your body paragraph for your 5-paragraph essay. Okay. Next, let's go ahead and take a look at your thesis. The thesis is going to be the thing you're writing about. So we need to work on your thesis development and your roadmap. So we have here a chicken foot. That looks like a chicken foot. So on the chicken foot below, you're going to write your thesis and your roadmap. So your thesis is always an opinion. So this is your opinion that answers the mini question. The roadmap is created from your bucket labels and lists the topic areas you examine in order to prove your thesis. And if you recall, you're trying to answer the question stated in the background essay. Right? I'm just going to put BGE, and let's see. And recall that you're trying to respond to the background essay I'm just going to put BGE so you know where to find it. And it might help if you write the question here. So let's go up and find that question that was stated in the background essay. And that is, so here's your background essay right here, right? And the question that states where it says your task is to consider the 4 key ideas expressed in the Declaration of Independence. That's equality, unalienable rights, consent of the governed, and the right to alter or abolish the government. So it's those things. So then you're going to write an essay which explains why 3 of these ideas are important to society and why the 4th idea is most important of all. And this is in your opinion. So you're going to write about 3 of the ideas, why they are important to society, and why the 4th idea is most important of all. And so we could go ahead and retype that down here, or you could write it on your piece of paper as well, so it's close to your thesis statement that you're working on. So I'm going to click the T tool. The 3 important ideas of the Declaration of, and I'm going to move my typing tool over here so I have more space, Declaration of Independence. You state what those are, and you're going to dedicate a paragraph to each one that you focus on. And of course, the most important idea is, and then you explain, in your opinion, what is the most important idea. So here's your thesis statement, and this is how you start your paragraph. So you could say the 3 important ideas of the Declaration of Independence are, and you explain what those are, and the one that I find the most important is the one that you think is the most important. You state what that is, right? So that's something that you can do. It lets the audience know what you're writing about. One other strategy you could do is to leave a cliffhanger, so you can explain in your first paragraph the most important ideas in the Declaration of Independence are, and in this essay I will talk about each one of these important ideas, comma, and I will reveal to you what I believe is the most important idea in the Declaration of Independence, period. So now you've hooked your audience, and they're going to read your work, and they're going to wait to find out what you think is the most important the most important idea in the Declaration of Independence, right? So up here in this space, where you have your thesis statement, right? So you write your thesis statement here, the important ideas or the 3 important ideas, and then you just explain that, and then of course you have the idea of equality, right? Then you have, and that's from what, document A. And down here in this part, you would write document B was right to life, liberty, and pursuit of happiness. Or so you could write liberty. The idea of liberty, that's from document B. And so you'd fill those in, and then you got your chicken feet, and now you should be able to start working out your thesis statements. Okay, all right, now stay tuned, because I'm going to walk you through your rubric about how I'm going to grade your essay.